What's up guys, my name is Ace and welcome back to The Breakdown, the series where I analyze gameplay to help you improve. In today's episode, we're going to be analyzing a Hardpoint gameplay from BoringBombay on Detroit. Let's get into it. Alright, so let's start it off with the class that he used. So we have the AK-12 feeder with extended mags and quick draw, and all of this is a great choice. It's actually one of my favorite setups, although I just use the base AK. The feeder gives you a couple extra bullets in the magazine, and in exchange for that you have reduced hipfire, like you have worse hipfire. I prefer the base model, but there's nothing wrong with using the feeder if that's what you like using. For perks, we have low profile, danger close, blind eye, toughness, and blast suppressor. Now with this one, the only thing that I would, or I guess two things that I would consider is first off, a flak jacket. When you're playing Hardpoint, if you are planning on being in the Hardpoint at all, which you should be at some point, even if you are planning on playing kind of as like an anchor type player or a roaming player, you should plan to jump onto that Hardpoint when it's needed. And flak jacket is extremely useful for this. I'm not saying it's required, it's just something that I personally would change. I'd probably swap low profile for flak jacket for Hardpoint with this class. Also, one thing I wanted to point out, he only has one frag grenade and he's running danger close. This seems like a little bit of a waste of danger close to me. Now I know danger close also does work for his aerial assault drone because it has rockets on it, but to me I would want at least 2 frag grenades, or maybe I'd want the grenade launcher attachment on my gun, or I just want more than one explosive if I'm going to be running danger close on my class. Otherwise, it's really not all that useful. It's not nearly as effective as it could be on your class. For score streaks, we have UAV with, I believe that's extra assist points, and it has threat detection and support as well. And then score streak 2, like I explained, this is the AI with rockets, which is my favorite way to run this assault drone. So overall, excellent class. Just a couple things that I would consider is finding space for flak jacket there, and also if you are going to run danger close, I'd recommend having more than one explosive on your class, just to actually make it worthwhile to run danger close. Alright, let's jump right into the gameplay here on the opening route. He fires his nade a little bit early, no big deal there, although I would have probably held off for just a couple more seconds. He uses cover great on that ambulance, and I like that he pushes out here to get these cutoffs. He now has control of this back door, and his teammates can be safe knowing that. And also, one thing I liked is he doesn't have any cover when he's out in the open here. This is why he drop shotted, and this is an excellent choice here, is to drop shot when you don't have cover, and it worked out for him really, really well because his enemy just couldn't stay on target. Now right here, great awareness knowing that that school window is definitely a danger zone. He saw that enemy and he dashed back around the corner, and I like that he jumped up on top here. That window in that school there is a power position on this map in any game mode, and the best way, in my opinion, to challenge them most of the time is to jump up on top of where that hard point is right now, or where the B flag is. Jump up on top of there. You now get the height advantage. You're looking down, and he has a lot less cover than he would against somebody that's down on the street. So, great move there. The guy actually took cover, but that's okay. He went for the flank, and that worked out for him as well. Now, right here, this is great. He took cover to reload. He knows enemies are coming to his right. Picks off a couple guys here. And right here, the third guy comes in, he takes cover. I don't really like that he challenged this guy. He kind of got lucky in that situation, in my opinion. He got lucky that that guy just happened to be firing that grenade at that point, so he was able to take him off guard. A smart player in that situation, if let's just assume the other player was a better player, he would have just posted up and aimed down sight waiting for BoringBombay to challenge him, and he would have gotten an easy kill on BoringBombay, because BoringBombay was 1 shot from death at that point, maybe 2 shots from death, but he did not have the advantage going into that gunfight. So I wouldn't have challenged there, but it did work out for him. He did get lucky. Skipping ahead just a little bit, the hard point's in this area right here, and this is a great positioning, especially with the gun that he's using and the class setup he's using. It's more designed for getting cutoffs. It's not really designed for playing in the hard point. Right here, they lose the hard point, and I like that he's patient here. He's not just rushing straight into the hard point. But here, I don't really like that he laid down right in the middle of that doorway. He doesn't really have much of an option to escape in this situation. As soon as an enemy finds out he's laying on the ground, he can't just like dash to the right and get out of the way. At least not against a quick and a good player. He can't get out of the way. I would have laid down still. I still would have laid down, but I would have laid down much closer to the doorway, like the side of the doorway. So I had an option to maybe dash out of the way there. And then also, I don't like that he just dashed straight into the hard point there. I don't know, maybe he's just trying to build up score real quick and just get a really quick capture on the scoreboard for him. But it was basically a suicide mission going in, and I'm pretty sure he knew that going in. He was completely surrounded. There were 3 enemies coming from 2 different directions, at least 3 enemies anyways. And this got him killed. It was a pretty obvious situation there. It was obvious what was about to happen, so in that case, there's nothing wrong with just backing down and saying, well, we've lost this one, rotate, and get to the next hard point. Now, skipping ahead just a few seconds here, he's in the hard point in this garage, and so is pretty much his entire team. Now, I know he doesn't have a radar, so that may be what affected his decision here a little bit. But like I said earlier, he has an assault rifle, a longer range assault rifle as well. It's not designed to excel in areas like this garage. So if I were him, this is where I would be kind of roaming around, getting cutoffs, getting kills, and he ends up doing that. He does end up pushing out of the hard point, and the main reason for that is he's got his entire team in there, essentially. He's got like 3 or 4 guys in the hard point, so now it's time to go out and get the cutoffs. When your team has complete control over the hard point, it's not doing them really any good for everyone to just sit there. It makes it much easier for the enemy team to actually break the hard point rather than having a guy that's roaming around, getting those cutoffs, getting those kills, and not allowing the enemy to get anywhere near the hard point. And that's what he does on this hard point location. This is great. He's not sitting in the hard point, but he's still playing the objective actually more effectively than the guys that are just sitting on the hard point. Now, I do realize somebody does have to be on the hard point. That is definitely the case if you want to score points. But in this situation here, he's actually being more helpful because he's getting cutoffs, although one guy did slip by him there. But this is a great way to play the hard point. You're playing the objective by securing cutoffs and not allowing your enemies to even get to the hard point. So, great job there. A few seconds later, he's rotating to the next hard point. He knows it's going to be in school here, so that's great awareness. You know where the next hard point's going to be. It shows that you actually know what you're doing in hard point. But right here, he kills out one enemy. The hard point's still red, and he jumps in anyways. This is a situation where if you see that hard point's red, you can check at least 2 or 3 of the corners before actually entering that room. Instead, he just jumped in, and it turned out that guy was in the corner that he just killed the other enemy in. That's not really where I would have expected that enemy to be, but it would have still been a smart choice to just play it a little bit slower, a little bit more cautiously, especially with an AK-12 in your hands. If you had an ASM-1 and he jumped in and did a quick 360, that can work. That can be actually a very effective technique to break the hardpoint. I think that's what his teammate did there to break that hardpoint. He jumped in with an ASM-1 and just sprayed everybody down. With an AK-12, it's not going to work like that for you, at least not very often. Again, in this situation here, he's sitting on the hardpoint. He's got 3 other teammates in there as well, and he's got an AK-12. It's not really where he should be, and I think he realized that, and that's why he pushed out. Also, he's got to get rotated. But when you're playing with an AK-12 like that, if your teammates are on the hardpoint already, you don't need to be directly on the hardpoint to be playing the objective effectively. Skipping ahead just a little bit to this situation right here, the hardpoint is in the B domination area right there. And this whole time I watched this, the first time I watched this through, where I know there's enemies inside that little building thing, I was just yelling at the screen, come on, just shoot through the thing. Shoot through the thing. You'll get a kill. It's so easy. Just shoot through. And he did end up doing it, but he hesitated a lot. He actually could have potentially had a couple kills there. It's just one thing to note with that. I get a ton of kills through that piece of cover. Almost every single game, and I would say your odds of getting a kill are 60 or 70% if you just spray a few bullets through and try to feel out where your enemies are. If you get a hit marker, just keep spraying in that same spot, you'll get a kill. And he did get a kill, which is awesome. So if you ever know that there are enemies inside that little area there, I don't know if I call it a building or what the thing is, if there are enemies in there and you know it, spray through there and you'll very likely get a kill. So that's going to wrap it up for today's episode of The Breakdown. Overall, with BoringBombay, you can tell he's an experienced player. He knows how to handle a lot of situations very well. He simply knows what to do. I'm talking mainly from when that enemy was in the school window there. He knew how to handle that situation perfectly, and you see that throughout this entire gameplay. There's no hesitation. He knows what to do. He knows what needs to be done most of the time. One of the small things I'd like to point out that could be worked on a little bit is playing effectively to your class and to your weapon. He's got an AK-12, and I found he was actually just putting himself on the hardpoint location when it wasn't necessary for the gun. I'm not saying you should never touch the hardpoint if you have an AK-12, not saying that by any means, but if you have 3 players already on the hardpoint and they all have ASM-1s, maybe you should work at Cutoffs if you're using an AK-12. And most of the time he did catch this and he did actually push out and do this, but there was some wasted time where he was sitting on the hardpoint pretty much being useless with his AK-12. So if you'd like one of your gameplays analyzed for a future episode of The Breakdown, all you have to do is upload it to YouTube, make it an unlisted video, and then send a link to that unlisted video to the email address that's in the description below. Keep in mind, it does need to be at least 720p in quality. I've been receiving a few standard definition gameplays, and I simply can't upload that to my channel. I want everything to be HD on my channel. Even if it's not my own gameplay, it's got to be HD. And also, I am typically looking for non-exceptional gameplay. I'm not looking for DNA bombs to analyze or anything like that. I'm looking for gameplays where there's a little bit of struggle going on. If you enjoyed the video, a like rating is always appreciated, and don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.